Hey guys, it's Erik Shellenberger from the Restaurant and Bar Marketing Podcast from Los Angeles. Today I'm going to talk about, this is kind of another one about how customers will find us and find us in a search in the future. I'm using ChatGPT again, and this is kind of a similar one to one of these videos I've done in the past, but this has a little bit different twist to it and some different results. So I asked ChatGPT, how will customers search for restaurants and bars in the future? Very broad, very vague kind of question. And here's what I came up with. And there's a couple of consistencies here that the lesson of this is, I guess, is listen to the consistencies, not necessarily the details. In the future, blah, 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 voice search and AI assistant. So voice-activated queries, devices like Alexa, Google Assistant, Siri will dominate, of course. And instead of doing a restaurants near me search, and again, I've talked about this one a bunch of times in the past, so forgive me if I'm repeating this part, but it bears repeating, is our searches aren't going to be a restaurants near me type of search anymore. It's going to be things like find a rooftop bar near me with live music, or where can I get vegan sushi with outdoor seating in downtown? Things like that that are very location specific, that are very feature specific, like what sort of food is it? What sort of atmosphere would you like? What sort of crowd would you like? And specifically, where would you like to be? And so those things are going to be make up the majority of how we search for restaurants in the future. And this is over. And don't think of this as just a Google thing. Yes, Google has a lot to do with this. This is the majority of this is Google. But think of this as our online presence in general is going to have to answer these questions of, do we offer that? And if you have nowhere on your website, nowhere on your directories, nowhere on your Google business page, anything that has these things on them, you're going to be missing out on huge opportunities going forward. So here's some other questions that or some other kind of results that it came up with. Yes, it's going to be AI of the future is going to be conversational. We're going to be able to ask these AI computers sentence-based questions like that. And then we're going to be able to talk back to it. Actually, show me something closer than that. I don't want to walk a mile. I'm walking, not driving. Okay, then it'll give you other answers. And you can say, actually, I changed my mind. I don't want sushi anymore. I want Chinese. And then it'll show you those. So we can talk back and forth to those, kind of like a chatbot, but not as annoying as a chatbot. I'm getting that part, but I despise chatbots. So the social media part is very interesting. It says social media, social discovery platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and Pinterest. Notice no Facebook in there, and notice they're bringing up Pinterest again. Will be primary search tools with users seeking trending spots and recommendations from influencers. That's the big one. We're going to be the public is going to be looking for recommendations from influencers. So not necessarily your page, like your profile on TikTok or Instagram or Pinterest is going to be more irrelevant than ever. It's irrelevant right now. Like most restaurants, I would say a good 95 to 99% of restaurants out there, they don't get traffic to their pages. Their pages are useless for the most part. There's some people that do storytelling very, very well and put a lot of thought into it, put a lot of effort, put a lot of time and a lot of money into it, and they get a pretty decent following. It does happen. It's very rare, and I don't really see it a lot. I see it, like I said, the 1% of the time people do it correctly, and they have a big following, and they can actually put a post out there that their following will see, respond to, walk in the door, and spend money. But the majority of this, I think, is totally correct, is that people are going to start to look for influencers, and influencers are more or less virtual word of mouth. It's someone making a recommendation who you don't really know, but you can kind of trust them-ish. So the interactive features, users might also filter options by price, ambiance, and reviews directly within social media apps. That's kind of cool. Personalized AI recommendations, predictive search. Algorithms will suggest restaurants based on past dining habits, reviews, and even dietary preferences. So if you're in a new city and you always do a search for sushi in that city around happy hour time, it may prompt you and say, hey, it's coming up on happy hour time. It's 3 o'clock. Do you want to make plans to find a sushi place near you within walking distance that offers blah, 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 that you've already told that you wanted to see? And that's going to start to be the conversation is going to be started the other direction where the computer is going to ask you instead of you asking the computer. That's going to start to happen. And of course, if it gets annoying, people are going to turn off. So it's got to be pretty spot on correct. And it's got to try to predict your wants and needs more than you do. And AI is not quite there yet. It's going to be. but that's going to be coming in the future. And again, context-aware search recommendations will align with current activities like suggested brunch spots near a shopping district. Makes sense. Augmented reality and immersive experiences. This one's a little weird that I don't see this coming quite yet, but AR maps, customers can use AR, which is augmented reality, to visualize restaurants and the surroundings, complete with menus, reviews, and photos floating in their view. Not quite there yet. Virtual previews. AR apps will allow users to step inside a venue, see the ambiance, and even the seating layout before making a decision. That's kind of a Google 360 view. It's been around for a long, long time, and I like it. And it's useful. It's not used that much by the public, unfortunately. I just think it's a lot of work to walk in somewhere and click on this one, then it'll rotate around, then it'll create the view. Then you click on this one, then it's like looking for a house. It's almost more work than it's worth. You get the idea from the outside. If that gets better, I like it as it is right now. Integration of smart wearables. This is wearable devices, smartwatches, and AR glasses will offer on-the-go suggestions. I don't think we're there yet either. Health metrics integration. Recommendations may consider health data, like suggesting low-sodium meals for users tracking their fitness goals. That's cool, but are they going to use it? And are they going to ask ChatGPT to show me a low-sodium restaurant near me? Probably not a thing yet. Advanced search filters. Emotion-based search filters like romantic, fun, or relaxing to match the user's mood. Those are great, but those really come from other people's reviews. So online reviews are, again, I've said it a million times, they're more important than ever, not just the star rating, but the content of the review. So we can say we're romantic, fun, and relaxing all day long, but that's a little biased. And those AI computers aren't really going to take our word for it. It's like us saying, I'm the most handsome, attractive, and hilarious person you'll ever meet. Well, that doesn't really make any sense. And you don't want to hear first person what they're talking about themselves as much as when those words are used in a review and used often in a review, and they can word cloud those. Now we know how important and high up and what importance we put on that word if it's used that many times, to where now if you have 10 reviews all mentioning that you're a romantic restaurant or you're relaxing or you're cozy or whatever the word is, now when ChatGPT crawls all that stuff, it's going to say, okay, I'm not just taking the restaurant's word from it, I'm taking at least 10 of their customers that said the same thing. That must be true. So these AI computers are very big on checking multiple sources. And they're not just going to take one platform's word for it. They're going to look at several different places around the internet to make sure they're giving you the correct suggestion. So the AI platforms really, really want to do a good job of getting the correct info. And right now they're pretty good. They're going to get nothing but better. And I think it's going to be exponential. It's going to double and double and double until they're so good that we just are baffled at how it even knows what we want when we want it. But it'll get there. Community-driven platforms. This is pretty cool. It's maybe a little irrelevant for restaurants, but real-time feedback platforms where users provide live updates and reviews, ensuring fresh and accurate recommendations. I don't see a user really doing that. Local influencers discover through trusted, localized voices rather than global or generic reviews. That's, like I said, same thing. Influencers are really, and trust me, my first or second book, I talked about influencers, and I kind of like gave them the giant thumbs down, like influencers are a joke. Back then, they kind of were, because they were guys just looking for a buck, and they knew that they could do a quick video, and they didn't care if it converted. They didn't care if it was relevant to your specific area or to your specific demographic. They just wanted that paycheck. So it was a bit of just a nonsense thing. Over the years, especially since COVID, they've gotten better and better to where they've got a really good niche. And now there's usually an influencer in every single niche, every city, every food type, every type of demographic you're looking for that appeals to young people, old people, everybody in between. If you can find the right guy, that's the challenge. Find the right guy or girl. That's the hard part. If you can find that person and they do move the needle, by all means, use them. Image and video-based search. This has kind of been going on for a long, long time. Reverse image search. I don't see people doing that. Uploading photos of a food or venue to find similar places or identify dishes. That's been a possibility for decades, and I don't really see that all of a sudden catching on. Video-based recommendations. Short-form video platforms will guide customers to hotspots with engaging content. And if that's already been a thing, that's nothing new. Okay, love this one. Blockchain and verified reviews. So no longer hopefully we'll see this start phasing out of the the complete BS, phony Yelp reviews of someone who just broke up with somebody who's a server at the restaurant, so they trashed the restaurant, or someone who's some Karen who had some minor thing wrong and she just loses her mind and tells everybody how terrible the place is, or someone who's never even been there and they just don't happen to like the owner or something like that that's irrelevant. Authentic reviews, blockchain-based platforms ensuring that all reviews are genuine and tied to verified customer visits. That is amazing. I hope that comes sooner than later. And I can see Google adopting that pretty soon. I think Yelp is going to either have to adopt it or bow out. I don't think a lot of people will be heartbroken if Yelp goes away. Transparency and ratings, insights into how ratings are calculated and what factors influence them. That's cool too. That's basically calling out the BS reviews. We all know a completely false or greatly exaggerated review when we see it. We know it. The public reading it, they may not know it. But if there's a computer that can verify that that's actually happening or not happening and filter it out if it's BS, I think that's amazing. Don't know how they're going to do it, but please do. Eco-conscious and ethical searches, sustainability metrics, cause-based discovery, searching for restaurants that support social causes such as fair trade or charitable contributions. Depends on the city. Depends on where you are. If you're in a really, really political, it doesn't matter which side, political part of a big city, maybe, but I don't see that really moving the needle in a big way. AI-powered chatbots in marketplaces. Okay, this one, I don't know. I've done several videos about this, and I got to keep going back to chatbots are a love and hate thing. And my biggest gripe in the world is a virtual assistant. When you call an 800 number, call tech support for whatever, you get that, hi, I'm a virtual assistant. What can I help you with? Not once in history has that chatbot actually helped me and answered the question I called about. Not once ever since they existed, 30 years ago. And I think that's the most flawed and the most overused and underappreciated fact of technology of all time. It's right there with the fax machine. So I think conversational chatbots guiding customers through options of tailored suggestions, I don't see it. I think this is just going to be another one of those annoying automated things that everybody knows it's automated. Everybody knows it's going to be useless and it has an agenda that's not necessarily what they're looking for. I'd say do not do those. I just think the public is totally annoyed with them. That's the equivalent of a website pop-up box. Pop-up boxes, again, are the things that every operator wants to see them. They have to have a pop-up box. They love them. They can't get enough of the pop-up box. But 99.9% of the public is annoyed out of their mind from pop-ups. Who interacts with the pop-up? I don't know anybody who has. The metrics on them are so dismal that pretty much 99.9999% of the people do not interact with them. They don't convert. They don't click on them. They're annoyed by them. It's just one of those things that I wish would just go away. Okay. Subscription-based discovery. This one's kind of cool. Exclusive access, paid platforms offering premium recommendations, perks, and insider access to trending venues. Pretty cool. It seems like something someone would use if they're out a lot, or if they're in a big city and they always want different recommendations, or if they're a really social person, or if they're in charge of planning for corporate dinners, lunches, events, that sort of thing. I don't see the average person paying for that kind of thing. They'll just default back to a normal voice command search and let ChatGPT do it for free or for $20 or whatever it is. VIP program suggestions based on membership ties or loyalty points. I'd like that. But again, this is for someone all loyalty programs are for the person who really, really likes your place. Say it's a lunch place and they go there 2-3 times a week. And it's like they're a super regular. That kind of thing, yeah, it works. And those guys are probably going to use loyalty points. But if they didn't have the points, would they show up and pay full price anyway? Probably. So loyalty things are kind of I don't know how I feel about them. I think it's the metrics look good. When someone looks at their loyalty metrics, it's like, oh, this person came back through the door when we sent out a special, we sent out an offer, we sent out whatever. Then the metric says that MAC address, their phone, watch back in the door. So that's a win. But we don't know how much money we're leaving on the table by giving those people something that they don't necessarily need to walk in that door. Gamification and rewards. Game-like searches, apps rewarding users for discovery and reviewing new places with points or discounts. Very cool idea. I'd like to see the execution. I don't know how that's going to be interesting enough to keep people engaged, but I think that's a great sounding concept. Community engagement features encouraging customers to share their discoveries in exchange for perks. Also really cool. But unless you're in a touristy big city, I don't see really how that's going to work. Again, I'd like to see the execution and like to see how they put that together. It sounds awesome if it's in the right environment and the right kind of demographic. But anyway, so this is a 13-point ChatGPT search on how customers are going to find us in the future. If you'd like to do your own search, I typed in simply in the ChatGPT, how will customers search for restaurants and bars in the future? That's it. If you want to read the whole thing in full, type that in the ChatGPT and check it out. Hope this helps.